Welcome to COP30 Climate Hub. I'm here in the Stockholm studio with a distinguished guest, Karin Elgquist. You're the CEO of Compareitgreen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Compareitgreen, you are a software provider for SMEs who want to calculate calculate emissions and take climate action. So let's start with that. Why should an SME take climate action? If I'm a CEO of a small business, why should I calculate my emissions?
That's a very good question, David. And circular economy, and especially reducing greenhouse gas emissions, is about reduce unnecessary resource use, which is the same thing as remove unnecessary costs. So being green means just working smart. And very soon, large corporates and large buyers will ask for climate data. This will probably be like any other standard business requirement, just like having bookkeeping.
That's very interesting, this push from the wider business community to calculate and keep track of their data up and down the value chain, and we'll come back to that. But what can small business do as a community, or what should they do to lower their emissions, given that in the EU 37% of SMEs stand for the 37% of the total emissions from the EU. So what can they do?
Yeah, 37% is a huge number, but it also shows that if all European small businesses work with the climate, the combined impact will be very big, and it will probably be bigger if they work together than any single government policy or any large corporate initiative.
So what would be hard arguments for greenhouse gas emissions, such as cost savings and compliance?
There are three arguments for this. I'd say that the first thing is cost saving. And cost saving for a company is for everything they do in their operations or in their business can be both carbon costs and climate costs.
SMEs in the EU account for 37% of greenhouse gas emissions. So obviously, SME greenhouse gas reduction would have an enormous impact. How can SMEs accelerate their climate action?
37% is a huge number, and it shows that if all European small businesses work with their climate, the combined impact will be larger than any single government policy or any large corporate initiative. The key here is to keep it simple and data-driven, because the SMEs don't have any sustainability departments and they can't afford a lot of consultants. So the acceleration for SMEs will come from keep it simple and affordable, and that is what we try to do for them, but also have a very high level on climate data, so that the reports are so good you can draw conclusions from them.
And then what would be hard arguments for greenhouse gas calculation and reduction for SMEs? What sort of tops the list if you want to convince someone to take this action?
I would say there are three strong arguments for this. The first one is cost saving. When SME leaders see their numbers on climate impact, it's very easy to draw conclusions how you can lower your costs. And the second thing is that EU's sustainability regulations, together with EFRAG's VSME, this will have a transformation on how we report. And even if the SMEs are not directly affected, they will have to provide climate data sooner or later. And the third thing I'd like to say is that market accessibility, because large buyers will ask or demand climate data. If they haven't started, they will start very soon. So if you want to be in the market, you have to provide data for them.
Let's look behind the curve there, because that's very interesting. How do you see this landscape will develop in the coming years in terms of new legislation and these demands, data demands from multinationals down the value chain?
Well, from a policy perspective, VSME will be a standard, and both tenders, banks, institutions, they will ask for climate data. And as I said before, from the market side, the CSRD and other regulations will make sure that the small companies will provide data for the large companies.
I would assume most owners or senior management of SMEs think that, for instance, it's not their responsibility. It's difficult and costly for them to calculate greenhouse gas emissions and take climate action, and in the end it will have little impact. After all, they are an SME. What's your slogan, let's say, or call to action to dispel all these barriers or blockers to climate action for SMEs?
Well, first, I totally understand that feeling, but here is the truth. If every SME in Europe work with their climate and reduce a little, let's just say, for example, 20%, the total impact from the SMEs will be larger than the entire energy sector's footprint. So I would like to say, don't see it as a burden, see it as good management. You don't have to be a climate hero, you don't have to be a climate specialist. All you need to know is your own business. You need help with tools and climate data. If you have that, it will not be complicated and it will not cost a lot. So I would like to say to all leaders for SMEs that start now, start small, and don't make it too complicated. But there are 25 million SMEs in Europe. And if everyone is doing just a little, let's say, for example, 20%, the total impact will be huge. So it is important, whatever you try to do.
It is important that everyone acts in the transition, including SMEs, even though you have 5 employees, 10 employees. Everyone should get their act together and start helping in the transition. Thank you, Karin Elgquist.
Thank you.
CEO of Compareitgreen, for coming to the COP30 Climate Hub.
Thank you.